A very happy and a good morning to you all children. On this fine morning, I'm very happy to meet you through this online classes. And today, let us begin a new chapter called Metals and Non-Metals. Children, this same topic, metals and non-metals, you have studied when you were in class 8. So the physical properties of metals and non-metals you have already come across when you were in class 8. Anyhow, we will be revising those concepts also. So out of the 118 elements which have been discovered so far, we can classify them into metals, non-metals and metalloids based on their properties. So we are going to see how are they classified as metals and non-metals. So this is a very important lesson, and this lesson is not deleted by the CBSE board for this year. So your attention is needed much here. So let us go into the lesson. So children, listen to them carefully, and I have taken only a few slides today in order to make you to get a deeper knowledge on this metals and non-metals. And by a course of 3 weeks, we will be completing this lesson. So children, listen very carefully and go into the lessons. Children, when you were in class 9, you have learned that matter around us is present in the form of elements, compound, mixtures. And the elements contain atoms of only one type. Do you know how many elements are there existing as on today? At present, there are 118 elements present in the earth. And this concept also we have discussed in the chapter of periodic classification of elements. So out of these 118 elements, only 94 are naturally occurring. Also, these elements can be classified into three main categories according to the properties they possess. They are metals, non-metals, and metalloids. Now, children, we will see about metals and non-metals in detail. What are metalloids? Metalloids are the one which possess the property of both metals as well as non-metals. What are the subtopics we are going to discuss on these chapters are being given here. First, we will take up metals with their physical properties. Then we will take up non-metals with their physical properties. Then we will compare the physical properties of both metals and non-metals. Then we will see about the chemical properties of metals in this reaction with oxygen, reaction with water, reaction with acids, reactions with solutions of other metals, reaction of metals with non-metals, and properties of ionic compounds. Then we will further extend our study in occurrence of metals. So activity series, extraction of metals of higher reactivity, extraction of medium reactivity, extraction of metals of low reactivity, and refining of metals. So we will finally conclude the lesson with corrosion of metals and the method for which corrosion can be prevented. Now we will start with the physical properties of metals. First point, solids. So almost all metals are solid at room temperature. So there are some exceptions in each and every property we are going to discuss. And these exception cases are very important because they are the one which finds in the CBSE board papers. So here the exception is mercury, where it's called as hydrogrium and symbol is Hg, and gallium Ga. So these are the two metals which are in liquid state at room temperature. So second point, luster. What do you mean by luster? Luster is the property of metal which shows their shiningness. Shining is called luster. So metals shine in their pure state, polished to give a highly reflective surface. Then third one, malleability. So what is malleability? Malleability is the property of metals that can be made into sheets by hammering the metals. So you can see here in this picture, mercury is in the liquid state, and you can see the gold bars, and the gold bars are being hammered to make it into plates or thin plates, so that thin sheets, to make it into the ornaments which we desire to make. Further, we will see the properties of the metals here. Ductility. What is ductility? The properties of metal which can be drawn into thin wires. It is called as ductilities. So drawn into thin wires. So most of the metals are ductile. For example, gold, silver are the metals which are made into thin wires. 1 gram of gold can be drawn into a wire of 2 kilometers in length. So this statement can imagine how ductile the gold is. Even the wires, the electric wires you find inside the insulating plastic sheet is now we will see about the hardness. Generally, metals are generally hard, differs from metal to metal. So the hardness of metal is different in different metals. Alkali metals like sodium and potassium are soft metals, and they can be cut easily with a knife. So this is a very important uh, board question. Sodium and potassium are the soft metals which can be cut with the help of even with a knife. Then melting point and boiling point. So how are the melting points and boiling points for metals? They are high. For example, the tungsten W, highest melting point, and it is being employed in the electric bulbs. So when you touch the bulb, after you glow it for some time, you will find the amount of hotness when being touched. Sometimes the heat is unbearable. So such a high amount of uh, hotness is being emitted from tungsten. So because of this, it has been chosen as the filament of the electric bulb because it has high melting point, and sodium and potassium have low melting point. Sonorous is the ability to make sound. So metals produce a sound on striking a hard surface. Example, the bells in the churches, the bells in the temples, or even the bells in the our schools. They are all made up of metals. Children, now we will find some of the properties, physical properties of non-metals. First point, physical state. Nonmetals are either in solid state or in gaseous state. The only exception is bromine. Bromine is the only nonmetal which occurs in the liquid state. Again, this is a board question. Then we will discuss about the properties of lusters, that means shining. Usually nonmetals do not have the lustrous property except iodine. Third one, hardness. We have seen that metals are hard, but non-metals are brittle. Brittle means they don't have that much hardness. For example, if you take the lead pencil, the pencil which you are using, the it is uh, made up of non-metal, a form of carbon. So you will often see that it is being broken when you use some extra force while writing. So they do not possess the property of hardness except carbon in the form of diamond. Diamond is the hardest non-metal. It is the hardest substance known, which also has a high melting and boiling point. And they do not conduct electricity except graphite, which is again another allotrope of carbon. Here you find a table which describes the properties of metals and non-metals. So this you have to be very thorough with the knowledge of this because they are often asked in the board question. So first property is physical state. Metals are solid at room temperature except mercury and gallium. Non-metals are generally exist as solid and gases except bromine. Then melting and boiling point. Metals generally have high melting point and high boiling point except gallium and cesium. Non-metals have low melting point and boiling point except diamond and graphite. Then density. Metals generally have high density and non-metals generally have low density. Then malleability and ductility. Metals are malleable as well as ductile. Non-metals neither malleable nor ductile. Electrical and thermal conductivity. Metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. Non-metals are generally poor conductors of heat and electricity except graphite. Then luster. Metals possess shining luster. Non-metals do not have lusters except iodine. Then sonorous. Metals give a sonorous sound when being struck. Non-metals does not give sonorous sound. Then hardness. Metals are all hard. Metals have the possess the property of hardness except sodium and potassium. And non-metals are generally soft except diamond. Children, now let us perform some of the activities related to the chemical properties of metals. You have seen when you were in class 9 that the burning of magnesium ribbon. So magnesium burns in air with a dazzling white flame. So do all metals react in the same manner? So let us check one by one. So metals, almost all metals combine with oxygen to form metal oxides. So this is the general equation. Metals plus oxygen gives metal oxides. For example, when copper is heated in air, it combines with oxygen to form copper 2 oxide, which is a black oxide. Similarly, aluminum also reacts with oxygen to form aluminum oxide. So we have seen about the burning of the magnesium ribbon in the beginning of the slide. So these are the metals which react. We have taken as an example for the reaction of metals with air. Different metals show different reactivities towards oxygen. So these are very important points for the examination point of view. Sodium and potassium react so vigorously with oxygen, with the outside atmosphere, that they catch fire if kept open, so they are kept immersed in kerosene. Then second, surfaces of magnesium, aluminum, zinc and lead are coated with a thin layer of oxide which prevents them from further oxidation. So we have seen about what is oxidation in the first chapter. So these metals are coated with a thin layer of oxides in order to prevent them from further oxidation. Iron does not burn on heating, but iron fillings burn vigorously. Copper does not burn but is coated with black copper oxide. Au, which is gold, and Ag, which is silver, they do not react with oxygen at all. So we have discussed about how metals are reacting with oxygen. Now we are going to see about an important subtopic which is known as amphoteric oxides. Children, this question is an important 3-mark question which is frequently asked in the board examination. Therefore, listen to this amphoteric oxides and learn what it is. You have learnt that metal oxides are basic in nature, but some metal oxides such as aluminum oxide, zinc oxide show both acidic as well as basic behavior. Such metal oxides which react with both acid as well as bases to produce salt and water are known as amphoteric oxides. So amphoteric oxides are metal oxides which react with both with acid as well as bases to produce salt and water. Now we have taken aluminum oxide as the example here. So aluminum oxide is reacting with hydrochloric acid and gives aluminum chloride and water. The same aluminum oxide reacts with sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide is a base. So after reacting, it gives sodium aluminate and water. So this aluminum oxide reacts both with an acid as well as a base, and such type of metallic oxides are known as amphoteric oxides. So the definition with the equation is Al2O3 plus 6HCl gives 2AlCl3 plus water H2O. So Al2O3 plus 2NaOH gives 2NaAlO plus H2O, that is sodium aluminate. Now we will see about the reaction of metals with water. Metals react with water and produce a metal oxide and hydrogen gas. These metal oxides that are soluble in water dissolve in it to form metal hydroxides, but all metals do not react with water. So the general equation says metal plus water gives metal oxide plus hydrogen gas. These metal oxides again they dissolve in water. Therefore, metal oxide plus water gives metal hydroxide. Now let us see the examples one by one. Some of the metals react with cold water, some of them react with ordinary water, some of them react with warm water, and some of the metals react with the stream. Now let us see one by one in detail. Metals like potassium and sodium react vigorously with cold water. In the case of sodium and potassium, the reaction is so violent and exothermic, and the evolved hydrogen immediately catches fire. So the equation can be represented 2K plus 2H2O gives 2KOH. You can refer to the book for the equations. Then the reaction of calcium with water is less violent. So calcium reacts very comparatively less to that of sodium and potassium which we had seen. The heat evolved is not sufficient for hydrogen to catch the fire. So equations is calcium Ca plus water 2H2O gives calcium hydroxide CaOH twice plus hydrogen gas. Calcium starts floating because the bubbles of hydrogen gas formed stick to the surface of the metal. Magnesium does not react with cold water. It reacts with hot water to form magnesium hydroxide and hydrogen. It also starts floating due to the bubbles of hydrogen gas sticking to the surface of the metal. Then aluminum. Metals like aluminum, iron and zinc, they do not react either with cold or hot water, but they react with steam to form metal oxides and hydrogen. So the equations are very important in this. So the reaction with metals with water is cold water, warm water and steam. So make a list of these metals which react with the water and learn them properly. Now let us discuss about the reaction of metals with acids. So generally metals react with dilute acids and they give a salt along with the evolution of hydrogen gas. So the general equation is written as metal plus dilute acid gives salt plus H2. Here there are some exceptions. Copper, silver and mercury, they do not react with dilute acids. So when a question is being asked, write the equation which involves the reaction of copper with dilute hydrochloric acid. So you should write there is no reaction. So that is the answer for this. This is one of the CBSE board questions. So apart from this, generally metals react with dilute acids to give salt and water. Some of the examples are being listed here. In the case of iron, magnesium, zinc, aluminum, when they react with hydrochloric acid, they produce their respective chlorides along with the evolution of hydrogen gas. So Do hydrogen gas is evolved for all the metals which are being reacted with? No. Hydrogen gas is not evolved when a metal reacts with nitric acid. It is because nitric acid is a strong oxidizing agent. It oxidizes the hydrogen produced to water and itself gets reduced to any of the nitrogen oxides like N2O, NO or NO2. But here also there are exceptions. Magnesium, Mg and manganese, Mn, they react with dilute HNO3, that is nitric acid, to evolve hydrogen gas. So this is a very important topic. So the exceptions are being always asked in the exam. Therefore, do prepare very well. Now we will discuss about the reaction of metals with a solution of other metals salts. Here the general equation given here is metal A plus salt solution of metal B gives salt solution of metal A plus metal B. Children, I would like to recall the reaction between copper sulfate and iron, which we had seen in the first lesson, types of reaction. So we have seen there about displacement reaction. What is a displacement reaction? A more reactive metal displaces a less reactive metal, and that is called displacement reaction. So based on the various experiments of the displacement, we have obtained a series of metals which are arranged in the order of their reactivity. So from K, potassium, till gold, Au, metals are being arranged, and this arrangement of metals is called reactivity series. The reactivity series is a list of metals arranged in the order of their decreasing activities. So this was listed after performing the displacement reaction activities, and this is known as the reactivity series, and this is a very important series, and this will give, when you can compare any two metals for their reactivities. For example, when you take potassium and calcium, potassium is more reactive, calcium is less reactive compared to potassium. So when you compare calcium and aluminum, so aluminum is less reactive than calcium. But at the same time, calcium is more reactive than aluminum. So as you go down, the strength of the reaction gets decreased. So more reactive metals are placed on the top and the least reactive metals are being placed down, and this is called reactivity series. Children, by this we come to the end of today's lesson. So in today's lesson, we have seen about the physical properties of metals, the physical properties of nonmetals, and the difference between the physical properties between metals and nonmetals. And finally, we have seen some of the chemical properties of metals. So based on this, we have come to a series called reactivity series. So learn all these slides very carefully and go through the textbooks in order to understand more in deep. Therefore, children, we will meet next time somewhere. Until then, it is bye bye from you. Thank you, children, for watching.